Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I wanted to do this quick video about the relationship with Julian Assange and Alan Dershowitz. Now, a little while back, I was doing a video, and somebody asked the question if Dershowitz indeed was a lawyer for Assange in WikiLeaks, and I was like, man, I find that hard to believe. I'd been somewhat critical of WikiLeaks in the past, back in like 2010, 2009, even a little bit in 2011 when they'd first come on the scene. But I don't remember, Dershowitz becoming a member of their legal team. However, he absolutely did. So we did some follow-up videos. And just to refresh everybody's memory, in 2011, it was announced that Assange did join that team. Now, according to the articles, he was a consultant. He was meeting with lawyers. There was nothing out there about direct contact with Assange himself. Now, since then, it's been speculated that he's still on that legal team. I suspect he's still on that legal team. However, there's been no official word. Now, WikiLeaks did tweet this out 4 days ago, and he's had the same position over the years. Remember, I am very suspect of Dershowitz. We've done a lot of coverage outside of this with Dershowitz defending Epstein, his whole defamation case with Virginia Roberts Guthrie. I mean, there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. And again, we've covered that in previous videos. But what I really want to focus on is a video that I found, posted by the Hudson Union Institute all the way back in 2013, December. So I don't know the exact date on this, and you can watch the whole thing there. I always like to give credit where credit is due. But I want to go through this because in this video, Dershowitz says he's met Assange and that he's actually had interactions with him. And as far as I know, I've never known that. I haven't seen it in any publications. But here you go. So out of Dershowitz's own mouth, and remember, I really agree with him on this case, despite the fact he is in this huge defamation case, still representing Epstein. Again, we've covered that on this channel and will continue to cover that. But this one's going to be dedicated to Dershowitz and Assange's relationship, because you got to ask yourself, is Dershowitz doing this because he's a good guy, because he believes in freedom of speech, because he wants to defend him? He did get the Pentagon Papers with Mike Gravel. Mike Gravel, I think, is one of the more genuine politicians. So here we go.
What role have you played in defending WikiLeaks and Julian Assange? Have you actually spoken to him?
Oh, sure, I met him.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time.
What is your personal, without client privilege, etc., what is your personal opinion of him? What is he like?
Well, let's stop it right there. So he says right there, no, we spent a lot of time together. So this is 2013, 2011, he gets on the case. And, I don't want to spoil it. It's a couple minutes long. But again, so he's had somewhat substantial relationship with Assange. And even though he's such a good lawyer, I guess he couldn't stop him from being indicted. As we've shown you in the past, these indictments were starting around this time, even though they were in secret. This is very much under the Obama administration that they were trying to take legal action against Assange and WikiLeaks. And, this is at the same time of the sexual abuse allegations all mounting against him, to just try to get him in a situation where he was held by law enforcement.
He's very focused, very centered on exposing. He sees himself as a journalist. He sees himself as the 21st century version of Woodward and Bernstein and others like that. He would never, he said, knowingly expose spies or secrets that a country had the right to keep. That's why he didn't himself put the information on a website. He gave it to the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Figaro, the Guardian, and a range of other responsible newspapers that could do the vetting, editing, and decide what was publishable and what was not.
And let me stop that, by the way. So just so everybody knows what he's talking about, a lot of these leaks were from Manning. Aside from the Reuters journalist, where we actually saw them get gunned down, that was part of the leaks. We also found out from Seymour Hersh, really one of the only people that would write about it, the abuse of children in a manner I won't even discuss, but just some of the most grotesque things that you can imagine that our soldiers did, and is extremely shameful. That there's a reason that WikiLeaks and organizations like that need to exist. Now, at the same time, I understand perhaps redacting material in order to, protect agents' names, but secrets they had a right to keep. I don't know who gets to be the judge of that. So I am curious to know what else is out there. We also know, aside from WikiLeaks, when you look at Vault 7 and you look at Snowden, we in the Snowden case, we got a very small fraction of the actual documents. Let's continue. As he continues talking about Assange.
Remember, there are two separate categories of people involved in these cases. There are the people who steal the secrets, Snowden and the private who was recently convicted under a court-martial. They are criminals.
And right there, he's talking about Manning. And remember, now Manning has been in solitary confinement for, I believe, over 2 months because Manning will not testify against Assange. And they're really trying to get Assange on a technicality that I don't think is prosecutable. Even Dershowitz does not think it's prosecutable, that he somehow encouraged or aided in the hacking by encouraging Manning to do it. It's a ludicrous precedent.
And they have engaged in acts of civil disobedience. You might agree with them, you might not agree with them, but they have no First Amendment right, having signed a confidentiality agreement and being bound by law, to steal secrets of the United States government. That's just not something I could legally defend.
As far as legally defending it, perhaps, but as far as having a right to do so, that's where me and Dershowitz separate, and I would think that most people separate. Is he in a roundabout way endorsing that behavior because he's endorsing the people that put those leaks out? He's a very good lawyer. That's all I can say there.
But once that material has been turned over to a journalist, whether it's WikiLeaks or the New York Times in the Pentagon Papers case, then the question is, should they publish? And that becomes a journalistic decision. And the United States has never prosecuted a journalist for publishing classified material. They prosecuted the person who gave the material to the journalist. So Manning, Private Manning was prosecuted. Snowden will be prosecuted if he's caught.
And by the way, prosecuted successfully. One of the few things that I agreed with in the Obama presidency was that sentence was eventually commuted and Manning was freed. I thought that was the right thing to do. And I think it is shameful, absolutely shameful, after Trump ran on gotta love the WikiLeaks, can't get enough of the WikiLeaks, you see the WikiLeaks, and now, I don't know anything about that. Well, obviously you knew what the plans were under your administration. You promised to drain the swamp, and what do we get? We get Bolton, we get Pompeo, we get Haspel. Give me a break. And we get the same thing over and over again. Now, Dershowitz very much defends Trump on television. How is he not at odds now with them bringing Assange, trying to extradite him to the United States? They haven't successfully done so yet. And again, there's been no evidence that Dershowitz is currently still working for WikiLeaks, but I suspect that he is. I could be wrong. Let's continue, because at the end of this, he says if it's ever brought to the United States that he indeed will be working for them.
But Glenn Greenwald, who I don't particularly like, but is not going to be prosecuted, and I would defend him if he were. And I don't think Assange is going to be prosecuted, though you never know.
He says you never know. So this is back in 2013. I don't think Assange is going to be prosecuted, but you never know.
I'm his, God forbid, just in case, belt and suspenders lawyer in the United States.
So there he says, hey, I'm the guy in the United States. So the question is, this is 2013. Is he still the guy in 2019 currently?
In the event they were to try to prosecute him here, which I don't think they're going to do.
But as we know, they now have done. And you would think, again, that since he has such a tight connection with the Trump administration, it's very apparent. He's very pro-Trump. I think he is justified in doing so, especially with the Russian fiasco. If you want my opinion on that, we've done countless videos over at We Are Change and Pulse Change. Please go over there, see my daily stuff. Subscribe now, ring those bells. But the question is, I mean, that's a pretty big dichotomy. So has he been a wolf in sheep's clothing on the inside all along? Is that also a possibility? I mean, I think all bets are off when you're talking about Alan Dershowitz.
I would be on his legal team, and I hope they don't do that, because I can't distinguish what he did from what Woodward and Bernstein did, what the fellow who writes for the New Yorker and exposes, always
Seymour Hersh
classified material.
So there you go. Again, he brings up Hersh right there, because Hersh published a lot of the material that was, given to him, I would assume, by WikiLeaks or some of the larger publications that he gave that information to.
Do the same thing. Seymour Hersh knows he's publishing classified material. Time and Newsweek know they're publishing classified material. The only difference is Assange is not a conventional journalist. He doesn't work for a newspaper. He has this organization.
And nor should it matter. And, thank God that journalism has moved away from that. But I want to remind everybody, Dershowitz also is representing people like Epstein. He's also in his own defamation case. He doesn't run in great circles. So we've seen Dershowitz, we've seen Trump play both sides of the fence, especially when you look at the Epstein-type issues, the WikiLeaks type issues, and I'm highly suspect of what is actually going on. If there's any more connections out there, if anybody can point me to whether or not Dershowitz has gone public and said that he is currently representing them, because again, WikiLeaks tweeting out just this week this latest article by Dershowitz talking about the Pentagon Papers and the Assange case, keeping strong with the same narrative. Oh, I think I'm going to wrap it up on this subject, guys. If you like this video and you're not subscribed, you just tuned in, make sure to subscribe, ring that bell, go check out my other stuff. Please, 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 please. We're trying to get to 15,000. Looks like we may even do so before the morning. If that's the case, tomorrow we will be doing a live stream, AMA broadcast, where we talk about the direction of this channel, some of the subjects you guys want me to cover. We'll be in the chat. We may even take phone calls. And I want to thank everybody who has joined the Burmist Brigade. I'm going to keep bringing you news and I hope insight into the history of not only this country but the world that a lot of people have tried to keep hidden or just kind of not popularized because it can be ugly. And unfortunately, this whole situation, in my opinion, with WikiLeaks, with the restriction of freedom of speech, with trying to separate internet media from establishment media, things that are owned by, guys like Jeff Bezos, it is repugnant and it needs to be stopped. So I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you so much for watching.